Have you ever left a doctor's appointment feeling like you weren't really heard? Maybe you tried to explain how tired you've been lately, or how something just feels off. But by the end of the visit, you walked out with a shrug and a vague, "That's normal at your age," instead of real answers. If that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. It can be frustrating, even scary, to know something doesn't feel right in your body and still be brushed off or overlooked, especially when you've lived long enough to know when something truly isn't normal. You start to question yourself, wondering, am I just being dramatic? Is this all in my head? But deep down, you know it isn't. And the truth is, this experience is far more common than it should be for people over 60. Doctors aren't always dismissive on purpose. Sometimes it's subtle, other times it's systemic. But either way, your symptoms matter, and your voice deserves to be heard. That's why today we're going to talk about what might really be going on when you feel like your doctor isn't paying attention, and more importantly, what you can do about it. Because the reality is, ageism in medicine is real. It's quiet, often unspoken, but it shows up in little ways, like when a younger patient with the same symptoms gets a full workup, but you get told to just rest more, or when your pain is dismissed as arthritis before they even ask about the type of pain or how it started. It happens when your concerns get folded into a general category of getting older, without taking the time to look deeper. And while aging does come with changes, it doesn't mean every issue you face should be chalked up to your birth year. One of the biggest reasons your symptoms might be ignored is because some doctors carry unconscious biases about older adults. They don't always realize it, but they assume that fatigue, forgetfulness, or aches are just par for the course after 60. But not everything is about age. Sometimes fatigue is caused by thyroid issues. Sometimes brain fog is linked to medication side effects. Sometimes joint pain signals something more than just wear and tear. When a doctor assumes instead of investigates, they risk missing something important, and that can delay treatment, or worse, lead to a condition becoming more serious over time. And let's be honest, the healthcare system today isn't exactly set up for slow, thoughtful conversations. Many doctors are under pressure to see more patients in less time. Appointments feel rushed, and it's easy to get lost in the shuffle. That's especially hard when your symptoms aren't flashy or clear-cut, when it's not a broken bone or a fever, but a nagging discomfort or a quiet change in your body that just doesn't feel right. If a doctor only has 10 minutes and they're scanning your chart instead of looking you in the eye, those small but important details can get missed. Another reason you might be overlooked is if you come across as too well. Now that might sound strange, but hear me out. Many older adults have gotten so good at pushing through pain, at putting on a brave face, at staying polite and cheerful even when they're uncomfortable, it can backfire. You sit upright, smile, try to explain what's wrong without making a fuss. And the doctor thinks she seems fine. But underneath that surface, you know you're not. You know something's off. The trouble is, doctors aren't mind readers. If we don't press, they often don't probe. That's why being clear, even direct, about how your symptoms are affecting your daily life is so important. It's not complaining, it's advocating. There's a difference. And when you say something like, "This pain is keeping me from sleeping," or "I've stopped going to church because I'm so tired," it paints a fuller picture. Suddenly, the doctor sees not just a vague symptom, but a real-life impact. And that matters. Let's also talk about another layer that's harder to admit, but it's there. Sometimes we hesitate to push back or ask more questions because we don't want to seem difficult. Many of us grew up in a time when you didn't question the doctor. You nodded, took your prescription, and moved on. But today's healthcare system is different. And more than ever, you have to be your own advocate. That doesn't mean being rude. It means being firm. It means preparing before your visit, writing down your symptoms, and bringing up what you need to, even if they don't ask. And here's something else to consider. If you're taking multiple medications or seeing several specialists, your care can get fragmented. One doctor might not know what the other is doing. Lab results get lost between clinics, And when that happens, your symptoms can fall through the cracks. That's not your fault. But it is a reason to stay organized and ask for better communication. It's okay to say, "Can you make sure my cardiologist sees this?" Or, "Is there a way we can review all my medications together?" You deserve coordinated care, not a patchwork of opinions. So, if you've been sitting with symptoms that don't feel right, and you've felt brushed off, minimized, or ignored, please know this: your experience is valid. And it's not just in your head. Your body is speaking to you, and you have every right to speak up on its behalf. Now that we've talked about some of the reasons this happens, bias, time pressure, assumptions, and even how we present ourselves, let's keep going and talk about the ways you can reclaim your voice, get better answers, and build the kind of relationship with your doctor that truly supports your health and peace of mind. It's one thing to recognize that your symptoms are being brushed aside. It's another thing entirely to know how to respond when it happens, and how to get your doctor to actually listen. Because let's be honest, when you've waited weeks for an appointment, maybe arranged a ride, gotten dressed up, and prepared your questions, it's disheartening to feel like the person across from you is already halfway out the door. But this is where taking back a bit of control can make all the difference. And it starts with being prepared. That means walking into your appointment with more than just a vague idea of what's wrong. If something's been bothering you, whether it's pain, fatigue, dizziness, memory changes, write it down. Not just the symptom itself, but when it happens, how often, what makes it worse or better, and most importantly, how it's affecting your daily life. Doctors often look for patterns. The clearer you can describe your symptoms, the more likely they are to connect the dots. Saying "I'm tired" might get overlooked, but saying "I'm so tired by 10 a.m. that I need to sit down and I've stopped going for walks because of it" paints a different picture. Suddenly your doctor sees function, not just fatigue. And don't be afraid to bring a list. You might feel silly at first, but having a short list of concerns helps keep the conversation focused. It also shows your doctor that you take your health seriously. That energy you're putting in, it often encourages them to meet you halfway. And if they still rush you, it's okay to say gently, "I know our time is short, but I'd really appreciate if we could talk about this before I leave today." That small moment of assertiveness can go a long way. Now, let's talk about trust. Because sometimes it's not just that you feel ignored, it's that you don't feel safe sharing the full truth. Maybe you've had a past experience where a doctor dismissed you, made you feel small, or left you feeling embarrassed for even bringing it up. That kind of thing sticks with you. It makes you hesitate the next time. It makes you tell half the story, or brush things off with, "It's probably nothing." But here's what I want you to remember. Your health is too important for half-truths. And if a doctor doesn't make you feel heard, respected, or safe being honest, they may not be the right doctor for you. That's not always an easy fix. Some people live in small towns or rely on specific insurance networks. But when possible, finding a provider who truly sees you, who listens without interrupting, who asks thoughtful follow-up questions, who makes eye contact and treats you like a partner in your care, that's worth seeking out. You deserve to work with someone who wants to get to the root of your concerns, not just write a prescription and send you on your way. And if switching doctors isn't an option, there are still ways to strengthen the relationship you have. Start by sharing a little more openly. You might say, "I know this may sound small, but it's really been bothering me." Or, "I've had this feeling something isn't right, even if I can't quite explain it." That vulnerability builds trust, and it opens the door for deeper conversations. Another thing to keep in mind, sometimes your doctor isn't ignoring you because they don't care. Sometimes it's because your symptoms don't fit neatly into a box. You might have a combination of vague issues, like mild dizziness, digestive trouble, and poor sleep, that don't scream any one diagnosis. And when that happens, some doctors freeze. They don't want to guess. They don't want to order tests that insurance might not cover, so they downplay it. They say, "Let's wait and see," or "Let's just monitor it." Now, in some cases, that approach is reasonable, but in others, it's a delay tactic. And this is where you need to trust your own instincts. If something doesn't feel right, You're allowed to ask for a second opinion. You're allowed to say, "I'd feel more comfortable if we could do some basic tests, just to rule things out." You're not being pushy, you're being proactive. And remember, you are the expert on your own body. You live in it every day. You know what's normal for you and what isn't. A good doctor knows how to listen to that wisdom, but even a great doctor can't do their job well if they don't have the full story. So speak up, bring your notes, ask the questions, push gently when needed. Also, if your appointments tend to move fast, consider bringing a trusted family member or friend with you, someone who can help advocate for you, take notes, and make sure you're getting the information and attention you need. Sometimes just having another set of ears in the room makes the doctor slow down and be more thorough. And don't be shy about asking for clarification. If something isn't clear, say so. Can you explain what you mean by that? Or what are the next steps if this doesn't improve? That one question can turn a rushed visit into a real plan, and it reminds your provider that you are involved in your care, not just along for the ride. Because that's what this really comes down to, being an active participant in your health journey. Not sitting quietly in the background, but standing up gently, respectfully, for yourself, your symptoms, and your well-being. You've come this far. You've made it through decades of change, growth, and life experience. You deserve more than rushed answers. You deserve to be taken seriously. And with a few of these simple shifts, clarity, confidence, and the courage to speak up, you can get the care and respect your health truly deserves. Let's keep this going, because there's one more piece to this puzzle. One that ties everything together and gives you the power to change the way your next appointment, and everyone after, actually feels. Sometimes the most important shift isn't what your doctor does, it's what you believe about your own health. Because here's the truth a lot of people don't hear enough after 60. You are not a burden. Your concerns are not too much. And you don't have to silently accept changes in your body just because someone else chalks it up to getting older. The fifth and final reason many doctors end up ignoring symptoms in older adults is something no one talks about. You've been conditioned to downplay your own needs. Maybe you've spent decades putting others first, being the caregiver, the spouse, the parent, the friend. Or maybe somewhere along the way, the system taught you that older people are supposed to fade quietly into the background, that speaking up too much is complaining, that being tired or hurting or foggy is just the price of aging. But it's not. You don't lose your right to answers just because you've celebrated more birthdays. In fact, you've earned the right to be taken seriously, to be cared for with the same level of concern and curiosity as anyone else. Aging is not a medical condition. It's a natural, beautiful stage of life that still deserves respect, attention, and support. So if you've been sitting on symptoms that don't feel right, if something's been bothering you and you haven't said anything yet, or you did, and no one really listened, I hope today reminds you that your voice still matters, your health still matters, and it's okay to insist on being heard. It may mean asking more questions at your next appointment. It may mean switching providers. It may even mean having a difficult conversation with someone who hasn't been giving you the time or care you need. But you're not doing it just for yourself. You're doing it for the quality of your life, for your independence, for your ability to keep doing the things you love. And that is always worth speaking up for. Now, as we bring this conversation to a close, let's just take a moment to reflect on what we've covered. There are many reasons doctors may overlook symptoms after 60: bias, time pressure, poor communication, vague symptoms, or even how we're conditioned to present ourselves. But none of those reasons mean you are the problem. They're signs that the system has room to grow and that you, as a patient, have more power than you may realize. You can prepare before visits. You can speak clearly about how your symptoms impact your life. You can ask follow-up questions, bring someone with you, or request tests and second opinions. You can choose providers who treat you with kindness, patience, and respect. And you can set the tone by believing deeply that your health and well-being still matter just as much as they did when you were 20, 40, or 55. Because aging doesn't mean fading away. It means showing up differently, with more wisdom, more self-awareness, and a stronger understanding of what truly matters. You've made it through a lot, and you deserve to live this chapter of your life with clarity, confidence, and care. If this video made you feel seen, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below, share a story, ask a question, or just let others know they're not alone. We're building a community here of people who care deeply about staying informed, empowered, and inspired, no matter their age. And if you found value in today's message, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. We're here every week sharing real, practical ways to take charge of your health and happiness after 60. Also, if you're looking for tools to help you feel more in control of your health journey, from hydration to journaling to gentle self-care, check out the links in the description below. I've included a few of my favorite resources to support your path to wellness. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Keep trusting your gut, keep asking questions, and never ever let anyone make you feel invisible. You matter. Your voice matters. And this life, this chapter, is still very much yours to shape. Here's to feeling heard, respected, and well at any age. I'll see you in the next video. Just click the one on the screen and let's keep the conversation going.